Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a little bit of a review and tutorial over the True Blend from CoverGirl. This is just the foundation I've been using most recently, and I like it well enough to think that I'd want to do a review for you guys and kind of tell you about it. So this is the True Blend from CoverGirl. Mine is in the shade I3. It's a good foundation, but it is more of like a sheer coverage foundation, so it doesn't give you like a whole bunch of coverage. And some things I found from playing around with this foundation is that applying it directly with a beauty blender is not the best way to do it, which is kind of why I wanted to give a little bit of a review and talk to you about my favorite way for applying this foundation that I've found so far. Because normally I will just apply a little bit of the foundation to the back of my hand, pick it up with the beauty blender, and then put it on my face. And when I do that, my beauty blender seems to soak up a lot of the product, and then you get even less of a coverage. The other way I've tried doing it is using a stippling brush. Using a stippling brush, I found that with this particular foundation, it tends to be a little bit more streaky, so it doesn't blend into the face very well. So I've played around a little bit more. I've tried it with my fingers. Still not a big fan of doing it with my fingers, but what I found to work best for me is to apply it from the back of my hand, put a little bit on the back of my hand, and use a foundation or a concealer brush and apply it to my face, and then blend it out with the beauty blender. And I find that I get the best coverage from this foundation with that method. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'll show you kind of how things work. So I'm going to start off today with priming my face with my e.l.f. Tone Adjusting Face Primer. This is their green face primer, and if you've been here for a minute, you know that I'm like in love with this primer. And Banjo's in here. You can see him in the back, and he's got opinions and feathers. Are you talking, buddy? Do you have things to say? Yes. Hi. You just want your 15 minutes? There you go. Just tell him everything you need to tell him. Yeah. You're giving opinions? Yeah, okay. Now that I've went ahead and primed my face, I'm going to go in with my favorite concealer of the moment, and that is my e.l.f. Cover Everything Concealer. And this is just a thick, creamy concealer that's really good for covering any kind of blemishes that my foundation isn't going to cover on its own very well. So when I just go in with a little tiny concealer brush, just put it where I need it. Okay, now that I've finished using my concealer, I'm going to go ahead and take a couple pumps of this guy on the back of my hand here. So, just like so. And then using my larger concealer brush, it's got a hair on it, that's fantastic. We're just going to apply it to the face. The one thing I love most about this method is that it allows you to control how much foundation is going where. So if I need a little more foundation around my nose because of redness or the little bumps I had to cover up, I'm able with this method to put a little bit more there. And then I can kind of thin it out as I go closer to my hairline where I need less foundation. That way I get a good amount of coverage where I need it, and I don't use a ton of product where I don't need it. And then I just go in with my beauty blender, and we're just going to push it into the skin. And you'll want to note that I'm bouncing it into my skin, not rubbing it. Okay, I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so at this point I do have the foundation all over my face, and so I'm more able to look and see if there's anywhere that I missed and that I might need a little extra coverage. So normally little places where I've put some concealer will need a little bit more, but this allows me the opportunity to go back in and kind of fix that a little bit. There we go, my foundation is fully applied, and this has been my most recent favorite foundation to use. As you can see, I'm almost half empty. What was that? There's only like half a bottle left here, so definitely will be using the rest of that up. But I've really been enjoying it. It works pretty good, and I like that it is a light enough shade to work with my skin during the winter time. That is one thing I have a problem with as it gets more and more into winter and I lose more and more of any kind of tan I had during the summer. I get so pale complected, so white, and it can be hard to find foundation to match my skin color in the winter time when I get super pale, because normally I'm like a beige color, but when it's like peak of winter and it's super cold and I haven't like gotten a lot of sun, I can be close to like an ivory, and sometimes it's hard to find, or sometimes it'll be like right in the middle between like an ivory and a beige, where ivory's too light and a beige is too dark. So it can be kind of hard to play around and find a foundation that works well with my skin color during the winter, and I've just found this to blend right in and work really, really well with my pale skin. So just want to give that guy a shout out. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup, and then I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes. Okay guys, and there we have it. That is my favorite way to apply the CoverGirl True Blend foundation. Like I said before, it is definitely more of a sheer coverage foundation, but it does do a good job, and it is definitely buildable if you take the right steps. Like I said before, applying it with the concealer brush, blending it out with the beauty blender, and then going back in with the concealer brush and kind of just touching it in the places that you need it the most. You can definitely build up the coverage to it, and I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely a good foundation. It's a good formula. It plays well with other makeup. I've had other foundations that do not blend well with the Maybelline Age Rewind. I've had some that don't play well with this, and it just kind of gets cakey and goopy. I've had others that don't do well once you set them with a powder. Most recently, I've been using the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. I really, really, really like this powder. If you guys are looking for a setting powder, I definitely suggest checking that guy out. But this guy just plays well with everything you want to put on top of him. My highlighters, my bronzers, my contour powders. It plays well with everything. It's very light on the skin, so it's not cakey. It doesn't give you like a heavy feeling on the skin. You know how some just kind of feels like your skin is suffocating. Well, with this guy, it feels like your skin can still breathe. So definitely one that I would recommend you checking out if you're interested. But otherwise, that'll wrap up this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys. Look at that lazy putty tat. Still all covered up. Don't want to get out of bed, buddy? No response. Slow blinks. He likes it when people leave and he gets the full bed to himself. You gonna go back to sleep, buddy? That's what it looks like. I don't even know if your eyes are open anymore. They're almost shut.